About 10 months ago, I got the opportunity to do something that I thought wouldn't be possible for a good bit more years, and that something was purchasing one of my dream cars, a 7th generation Honda Accord. This one specifically is a 2004 Honda Accord EXL. It has the K24 or 4-cylinder with the 5-speed manual, which is, I wouldn't say it's completely rare, but it's a fully loaded model that still retains the 5-speed manual. So it's pretty cool in my opinion. And again, this was one of my dream cars. When I got the opportunity to buy it, I did make somewhat of an impulsive buying decision simply because, um, as far as I could see at that moment, there wasn't going to be many more manual, fully loaded Honda Accords popping up. And after I bought this car, strangely enough, it seems like all of a sudden, a good bit of them were coming available. And a part of me wishes I had waited until something else became available. Obviously, I can't go back and change the past. So to say I'm remorseful over it, not necessarily. Um, because don't get me wrong, I do still love this car. I will stop beating around the bush as well. As you can see, the car is up for sale. Um, I still have my first car, which, as you know by either the title of the channel or previous videos, is a 1998 Honda Accord EXV6, which was the generation before this Accord came out. Um, Something about that car still remains so visceral and raw that it makes it really, really hard for me to get rid of it. And because of that, right now, it's missing from the driveway because it's in the shop, or and has been there for a week now, getting some major mechanical work done because I have to keep it on the road. While I did enjoy being a part of the crowd that was doing their part to save the manuals, um, I think I've kind of outgrown or fallen out of love with my dream car. I think that's the best way I can put it. Um, I think had I waited until I found an '06 to '07, which was truly my dream car, um, this video right here truly wouldn't even exist. I think the back end of the '03 to '05, or the pre-refresh model, looks a little too stubby and kind of awkward, and I thought it would grow on me, but I might as well be honest, it really hasn't. I think the worst angle for this car is when you look at it directly from the back. Um, it doesn't do it any favors in the looks department. Um, with that being said, even though I wasn't completely in love with it, I have tried my best to keep this car in both really good mechanical and cosmetic shape. The goal of me buying this car to begin with, aside from it simply being my dream car, my 98 Accord, as I stated, had many, many, many major mechanical problems, which is to be expected for a car of its age. Um, and I wanted something that I wouldn't have to continue piecing together. And I would say for the first 3 to 4 months of ownership, this car did a really good job at being completely problem free. And then after those 4 months, that's when all the problems started. And I won't go into too much detail with that, but to put it simply, some of that oil down there isn't only from my 6th generation Accord. So that explains itself. Um, and that's not to say the car isn't good, because it remains really reliable. I would much rather own this car than many others, simply because I know that it's a Honda and it is going to stand the test of time. When I first bought the car, it had around 219,000 miles, I believe, on it, and in the 10 months of ownership, it's now reached 227,000. Um, I my goal is to really my goal is for this car to go to someone that's gonna appreciate it and not trash it. It's not pristine. It's not in mint condition. However, there are far worse running around the roads in my area, and I don't want this to turn into one of those. Um, Before I made the decision to put it up for sale, I was considering doing some performance modifications, but having to get my 6th generation Accord fixed kind of put a fork in that. I was going to consider doing the 6-speed manual swap from the Acura TSX because for some reason 5 speeds or 5 gears, excuse me, just simply isn't enough as far as I can tell. More specifically, the car's highway manners, like running down the interstate at 75, 80 miles per hour, even in 5th gear, the car is revving a little bit higher than my liking. And I don't think that's anything wrong, it's just the nature of the car. But I think having a 6th gear would have really helped out with that. Aside from that, I was going to do like a cold air intake, and then a Yonaka, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that, but a Yonaka catback exhaust. But I decided getting my other car fixed was going to be a little bit more important to me. So here we are. I will kind of end this off by saying the 7th generation Honda Accord remains, in my opinion, one of the best that Honda has ever built. And again, I would say the 06 to 07 still remains one of my dream cars. The 03 to 05 it's a nice car as well. I really like the interior. I would pretty much say the styling from, sorry, that point over, completely amazing. But from that point and back, that's what I really don't know what they were going for. Needless to say though, this is a Honda Accord. Plenty of these sold, even with the stubby, awkward look at the back end. So although I may not be the biggest fan, obviously many people were. While I never imagined myself getting rid of something that I worked, so hard for, and kind of fell in love with. We've reached a point. It's like a relationship. As crazy as it may sound, we've reached a point where I've just kind of fallen out of love with it. So yeah, I think my next video will be an update on my 6th generation Honda Accord. I think that should be coming home by today's Sunday, so within the next 2 days. So by Tuesday, I think that should be coming home, and I will make an updated video on that. I'm gonna make some cosmetic changes to that as well. You'll notice that I took off the sunroof visor from this car before I put it up for sale, because I'm gonna put that on my 6th generation Accord. And I have a few more things in store for that as well. So I appreciate you for watching. If you have any feedback, comments, suggestions, etc., please feel free to let me know. Thanks.